Hi, everyone. I'm Maddie with Anime Fire, and I am here talking to voice actor Dameon Clarke. How are you today?
Hello. Maddie, do you want to tell everybody what we were just talking about?
We were just discussing cosplay and Anime Pasadena, which we are so excited about. It's coming up at the beginning of November. And Dameon Clarke will be a guest at the convention. Are you excited for it?
Well, I asked you what your cosplay was, knowing full well that I probably would not know what your cosplay was, because all I watch are stupid survival shows and shows on homesteading and how to raise chickens.
Hey, you know what? We all enjoy what we enjoy, right?
Yeah. I never thought I would hear myself say that out loud, but that's where I'm at.
That's totally fine.
Yeah, and then I'm really excited about this, man. I've always wanted to do this show. It's going to be my first time.
Oh, very cool. What are you most excited about?
Just in general, I really enjoy conventions. It's the only time that we get to talk to people that are interested in what we do. Before conventions, we would go do the job. Well, you look at even before that, right? You audition for something, you don't hear anything. So you're just shooting it out into the universe and you don't know, did that suck? Do they like me? I have no idea. The only feedback you get is if you get another audition by that same casting director, right? And then you get the job and then you do the job and then there's zero connection or feedback from people that may watch the show. Do people like it? What does it mean to them? So that's pretty much why I do conventions. So I can, meet these people. And I've made a lot of friends, man. A lot of cool people doing this job and getting to, hear people's, what does this project mean to you? And, we can talk about things that we have in common, which would be that show.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's so much fun to be able to talk to voice actors about what these things mean to us as fans. So it's a win-win for everyone.
Yeah, right? Because you get literally a face-to-face of 3 feet. And depending on how crazy it is, we get to converse and talk and get to know each other. And it's very special to me. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. And how does it feel now that anime is way more mainstream in the United States?
It's crazy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Post 2020, very different. I think it's, what I find really interesting is that it's polarizing on some level for some people. Because people that don't understand anime think it's dumb. They trash talk it. I don't understand why my boyfriend's into this or my girlfriend or whatever, but it's mostly, I don't know why it's polarizing for some people. Maybe because it's such a unique thing. And if somebody doesn't understand it, they get upset by that somehow. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, a little bit.
It's dumb. It's like, well, no, you just don't like it or understand it. That's cool. Right. Why are you... People are so opinionated about it. But yeah, what's your question?
How do you feel about the way anime has become more mainstream? In general, the people who do like it, how, it's kind of exploded in popularity in the last few years. How do you feel as the voice actor who gets to voice these characters, in the anime that people are now watching?
If I said I think it's stupid and I hate it? I don't like that part of it at all. You know what really bugs me, Maddie, is the fact that people are discovering and loving anime. I can't stand it. No, of course I love it. I think it's amazing. I get to meet more people, that come to these conventions and because I've spent so much of my life doing it, so it's special to me that I get to meet like-minded people and, those are my people. So
yeah, absolutely.
When you're into something like homestead shows, or I don't care what it is, could be cooking, could be cars, whatever, it's nice to be able to talk about those things. It's nice to share your experiences with other people.
Yeah, absolutely.
Obviously, clearly.
Yeah. And that's fantastic. I can feel the energy. I can feel the love.
You hear that coming your
I
way?
can feel it. Yes. Yeah. And, with like Dragon Ball Z, you were Cell, who was such a huge arc in the Dragon Ball Z universe with the Cell games, and he was this big bad. What was it like bringing that character to life?
It was very much like sort of almost like a work in progress, because when I auditioned for Dragon Ball Z, I did not know what anime was. You got to keep in mind this was about 20 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So at that time, just a couple of years before that, Gen Fukunaga, were trying to figure out how to bring this project and a couple of other anime properties to America. So it was, and then, I'm not sure if you're familiar with like ocean dubbing and all that.
Mm-hmm.
So it was very much in its infancy, and nobody really knew what it was. So I kind of get in on the ground level on that. But yeah, it's, oh my God, again, what was the question?
That's okay.
I go on these tangents, and I'm like, ooh, I want to talk about that. And then I forget your question. I promise you, I have all my faculties about me.
That is totally fine. We love the tangents because that's what we're here for. We're here to gush about your characters and these shows and
Cell,
anime.
we're talking about Cell.
Yeah. Bringing him to life.
I didn't know anything about anime, and we called them cartoons. Mm-hmm. It's animation.
Yeah.
And then the dubbing thing is a different thing too, right? Because then we'd have prelay ordinarily, and blah blah blah. So when I auditioned for the character, it was just the first version of him, that snaky kind of. And I thought, okay, that's it, right? That's the character. But nobody told me there was like 2 other characters to it. And I had no manga experience. I had none of that. So I'm like, oh, there's 2 other guys here. And then they gave me the concept art for it. And concept art was already done. So I kind of had to figure out, going along on this journey of Cell, what to do with this character moving forward. And to me, it was all very different, first, second, third version of him. So I kind of had to find this inspiration of like, what am I going to do with this second, third version? And of course, the third version is the bulk of it, right? Mm-hmm. So I kind of pulled inspiration from different areas and kind of came up with this pompous jerk that kind of sounded British.
Tiny bit. Sure. Yeah, a cool like flair.
Sometimes there's hints of Ron Burgundy in there, like welcome. You know what I mean? Like, if you're not perfect, you're not me, planet Earth. But just so we're clear, I did it before Ron Burgundy. So
yes.
He copied me.
Yeah. Yes, of course, naturally, yes.
Yeah.
I like to think Will Ferrell's
an amazing experience to be able to do that character.
Yeah. And now with Dragon Ball in general, it's such a multi-generational, show and series where, I watched it growing up, and then, my generation is having kids, and their kids are watching Dragon Ball growing up, and it's wild. It's really cool. Right.
You got like grandparents to toddlers, I guess you could. Yeah. The whole family comes to the con dressed up in whatever their favorite character is. You can't really cosplay Cell. It's too hard.
I'm sure someone's done it. I'm sure.
I've seen it done a couple of times.
Yeah.
Never the first version, because good luck.
Right.
Way too much styrofoam and plastic. And I've seen a couple of third versions that were very impressive, but it took them a long time to put it together.
Yeah, I always admire those who can put those big armor pieces and the face paint, and it's phenomenal. So now you have also been the voice of Handsome Jack in Borderlands, the video games. And he is probably one of the coolest, I think, villains that I've ever come into contact with in a video game series.
Thanks,
ever.
Cupcake.
What was it like bringing that character to life with that kind of chaos behind him?
Okay, let me see if I can answer that question and not forget what the question was.
Okay.
It was So you know how like Handsome Jack is just my voice?
Yeah.
Which is kind of like I didn't pitch it at all. Like it was nothing different about it because I was working on another project in the studio and I met the producers of Gearbox and they were recording at the time. And they're like, hang on a minute. Let's get this guy to read Handsome Jack. Because apparently I'm a raving psychopath. Because it just went off my personality, pretty much. And the audition was I think it was like the New Haven spoon scooping out eyeball rant. And they handed me that and he said, would you read that for us? And I'm like, what in the hell is this?
Yeah.
This is a video game? I'm like, okay, well, clearly this must be like a pitch idea, right? It's not going to be an actual video. There's no way that this is going to go into a video game. I legitimately thought that. And so I just read it and had fun with it. And the way it was written was great. So I didn't have to do too much. And then they were like, yeah, you want to do this character? And I was like, great, I'd love to. Not knowing anything about Borderlands because I hadn't played the first one. And here we are. So it's, definitely one of my favorite characters I've ever done. Especially when they give you freedom to do stuff, dumb stuff.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Because a lot of it's like the nicknaming stuff and some ad-lib. It's just very much me. You know, hilarious and charming.
Right. Oh, it's perfect. Yeah, it worked out. Yeah.
No, but just meaning like the ease of it is just, it's just very natural. And I love that part of it.
Yeah, that's really cool. So did you get to choose the name Butt Stallion or was that in the script?
No, I think Anthony wrote that.
Okay.
Yeah. No, Anthony's freaking hilarious, man. He's a heck of a writer. He makes it easy, you know?
Yeah. If you had
moving forward, it was kind of like Anthony wasn't working on, I don't think, the additional Borderlands. So it was kind of, you know, they were kind of keeping that handsome jacketness throughout the rest of it without that writer. It was sort of kind of more falling onto me to sort of just keep that kind of going as best I could anyway. I hope it worked out okay.
Yeah.
Because this is a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot. There was a lot of dialogue and a lot of content with him. And it was really fun. It was great.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, it was really fun. And if you had a pet unicorn, what would you name it?
No one's asked me that before. I usually have all these answers ready to go, man.
That's okay.
Cartier. Something fancy.
Something fancy. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
No, I mean, my plan B on that was piss for brains, so I'd probably just go for that. Yeah, remember? Yeah. How about unrideable pony?
Perfect.
Unrideable pony. Yeah. I still haven't gotten around how Butt Stallion came to life. It's kind of like a Pinocchio situation, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. You make a thing out of diamonds and then it magically comes to life one day.
Yeah.
Although, did you play Tales from the Borderlands?
I did not. No. I know. I'm so sorry.
Okay. I'm just gonna spoil it. I'm gonna spoil it for you because for the sake of this interview.
Yeah. Let's do it.
You have an option to shoot Butt Stallion at some point during the game. It's a Telltale game, so it's kind of walkthrough-y, right?
Yeah.
It's not a console thing.
Yeah. And
it bleeds. So, and it's frozen in the corner. So that's fun.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah, that's great. Is it at least bleeding rainbows or is it like blood?
Yeah. I know, you'll be cool if I got rainbow shot out of it, right?
Right. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it's a tragic.
I don't know. It's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah, a little bit.
What would you call Butt Stallion if it wasn't Butt Stallion?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I think unrideable.
Easy, right?
Yeah, unrideable pony is pretty great. I think Princess Rainbow Sparkles is always classic.
Okay, yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, there we go. So, do you prefer doing voiceover for video games over anime, or is it just kind of like a different experience?
Totally different experience, man.
Yeah.
It's like theater. It's like, what do you prefer? You prefer doing theater or live action? I've been pretty lucky to have done a lot in my career, and I love all of it because they present their own challenges, creatively and otherwise, technically even, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like theater versus mocap. Actually, you know what? I've said this before. I'll say it again. Theater and mocap are actually very similar because you can work linearly in mocap. I love
Mm-hmm.
it. I love it so much. You get so much rehearsal time. You're in a sound stage with a bunch of cameras. You build these little sets and you can just act your face off and not have to worry about shooting outside. Is it going to rain today? We got to move these scenes around. And now it's the end of the movie and it's day 2 and you got to get to that. It's so very disjointed. But everything has its own creative and technical challenges that I very much like. It's hard though to do. Not every project's going to be as creative as you want it to be, right? There's a lot of procedurals that I've done over the years. Hit your mark, say your lines. Which again, I'm not knocking that. Amazing. Met some great people. I love working on any set. But again, that's its own thing too. It's its own animal, right? If you're doing a guest star on a procedural, to whether or not you're the lead on that procedural versus whether or not you might just have one line. There's this weird hierarchy and you got to know kind of where you fit in it. The whole business is just kind of wacky and sometimes hard to navigate. But again, it's a challenge and I like a challenge. So it kind of works out.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's really cool that, there's so much fun to be had in all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want some of my voice went up?
Yeah,
It's a hard job though, man.
No, I believe it.
Really
Yeah, I
hard,
believe it.
especially when
Yeah.
you're striking and stuff. And
Yeah.
it's just, it used to be so much easier to make a living I'll go back to, I wasn't really alive, but like the 70s, we're making 3 to 4 times as much comparatively to what people are now.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know what this is going to do in the industry. They've made it almost impossible to make a living at this point without a secondary job of some sort.
Right. Yeah, that's unfortunate. But, it's also nice that you get to come to these conventions. You get to, spend time with fans and do photo ops and things like that. So I'm sure that kind of like helps a little.
Yeah, man. We were talking about COVID earlier too. That sucked. Sucked for so many people that have jobs like that, or in a part of their job, like comics, for example, right? They go out on the road and their whole life is people. And in essence, for those of us that do conventions, that's a large part of our life too.
Right.
So I definitely don't. I appreciated it. I appreciate it every day. Once you have that disconnect from society, you really appreciate the ability to go to these things for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so when you look back at the roles that you've done, like with Cell and Handsome Jack and like Scar in Fullmetal Alchemist, these big iconic characters, do you find that one stands out over the others?
Yeah. Depends on the project, Depends on the person you ask, right?
Right.
Some people are into FMA, some people are into DBZ, some people are into Fruits Basket. All these anime projects are very, very different. So, yeah, no, not necessarily.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's nothing I've done that I'm like, oh, I wish I didn't do that. So that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's always a very popular question. What's your least favorite role? I'm like, why would you ask that?
Yeah, so it seems like such a silly question.
Well, I'm not going to take the role if I don't want to do the role. Like,
right.
That sounded, because we've all done things. We've all done things that we don't want to do because we need the money, right? For sure. But I guess what I should say is, fortunately, I've never had to take a role that I was like, I really don't want to do this, but I need to pay my bills.
Right.
So I'm not going to look for that for sure.
Yeah. So you've been fortunate to enjoy the roles that you've taken.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. There's nothing that I'm ashamed of, so that's good.
Yeah, that's great. Very cool. Yeah, so I think that about wraps up this interview for today. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat with me.
Yeah, it was really lovely to talk to you, man.
Yeah, you too. All right, we'll talk to you later.
All righty, bye.
Bye.